Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome once again to the Champ We Are United podcast. And can you believe it's episode 92?
92?
No, no way. I
Hey,
can't believe it.
Paul, there, you're taking my position of going and shouting the numbers out. Oh, you can do it for good now. Oh, I've spoken. Everyone knows that Tangent Paul's here. Oh,
I
dear.
can't quite get high enough for it though.
I don't know what that was.
I
The
was
rest
trying
of
to get the high pitched noise of the episode.
I know.
Amazement.
You've got to do it like this. 92!
Exactly.
The professionals here. So, who is in the studio, not in the studio this evening? Well, I'll introduce, you've heard him already. It's only Paul, Tangent Paul.
Hello, Gull. Good to be
How are
here
you?
again. I'm very well, thank you. Yes, and still can't believe we're into the 90s.
I know. 92! And also, we haven't heard anything from him so far, but he is here. It's only mute button Matt Richards.
Hello there, Gull. Hello, listeners. Hello, Paul. Yeah, good to be here. Yeah, looking forward to 92. 92. Someone said it's 92 yet. Everybody
I'm not
realised
sure.
I
92.
don't think it's been mentioned actually, but it's quite
Okay.
amazing, really, when
Yeah,
you
I
think
think
about
it
it.
is.
I'm just going to listen back to the first 10 minutes and check how many times we've said 92. Hang on. Has there been plus 6, 7, 20, 22? Oh, 92 times. What a coincidence.
Oh, wow.
I know. So we've got an. Oh, by the way, I'm Gull. I'm your host this evening. I always forget myself, but there you we've got an apology this evening. Oh, it's not the same without him, is it? Neil Bygone Berrigan is not with us this evening. Good evening, Neil. You enjoy the show. We're all waving. Hey, we should change his nickname to Neil the Waver Berrigan, really, shouldn't we? But hey.
Waver. It sounds like something Jonathan Ross would say. He's a
Mm.
waver. Yeah.
Oh, John. Oh no, I was going to try Jonathan Ross impression. It's too early in the show to start doing impressions, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I said, I think I'm. Um, yes, and yeah, Bygone's not here this evening, but he'll be back soon. Okay, it's the running order. First of all, we'll have the social media feedback with Mute Button Matt, and then we'll
Cool.
move on to Paul, Tangent Paul's Collector's Corner section this time. Really
Yeah.
looking forward to that. Then it will be over to myself, Gull, for Gull's Got Issues. May even produce a theme tune for that one. And then
Ooh.
finally, it will be, well, tell us, Matt, actually, what are you doing at the end of the show?
Well, at the end of the show, I'll probably be turning the computer off and sitting down and having a drink. Oh no! Oh right, okay. No, you mean
No, no,
before
no,
that?
no, 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 no. So, Mute Button Matt, tell us what you'll be doing before the end of the show.
I'm going to be doing. We're going to cover Tommy's Troubles, famous strip from Roy the Rovers, and I'm actually going to cover the creation of Barnes United when Tommy Barnes created his own team named after him. So yeah, looking forward
Yes.
to
Well,
talking
we'll
about
be
that.
we'll be touching upon the naming of it, won't we? When we get
We
there.
will, yeah, controversial.
I
Mm.
know. Yes, indeed. And then after that, obviously, it'll be the usual social media feedback and goodbyes. So let's check. Are we all ready for podcast episode 92?
Yes,
Yes.
go.
All right. All right. Blimey. Okay, let's begin with the social media feedback. And of course, it's only been a week since the last episode, hasn't it? So I'll throw over to mute button Matt Richards, and off you go.
Okay, thank you there, go. Yeah, so social media feedback. So it's only been a week since the last episode 91, which was a fantastic,
91.
which was a fantastic one with Stratos and
Oh,
Nikos
yes.
from the unofficial Greek Roy the Rovers fan club. It's very, very enjoyable. And so yeah, so there's no Melvin's Musings this week. It's to disappoint the Melvin's Musings fans. I know they'll be turning off in their droves.
Yeah.
And no view from the House of Lord either.
Oh,
To again, you know, you can just I can just sense the turning off and the throwing down of phones and computers in disgust. They want to
we
hear
will
from the
have
Lord.
Yes.
Well, at least it'll save money with the amount of money I've got to send to the Kings of Leon and
Yeah,
E17.
that's true. Those royalties were getting a bit expensive.
They
Um,
were. They were.
but we do have some feedback. So from
Hurrah!
the Roy the Rovers Facebook page, we have a message here from John Evans or John Evo Evans. They're new to the podcast, up to episode 13 so far, but loving it.
Wonderful.
Nice.
Episode
It's worth it.
13.
I tell you what,
Go on.
I'm going to say, take my hat off. He's listened to the first 10 and still carrying on.
I know.
Oh,
It's
that's
worth
harsh.
mentioning. If he's listening now, it's worth mentioning. Yeah, you've only got to get up to episode 92 at the moment.
So brilliant. So glad you're on board, John. And I hope you're enjoying all the rest of the episodes. And Terry Angus actually went back to friend of the show, Terry Angus.
Friend of the
She went,
show.
Yes.
friend of the show. Went back to John and said, "You'll love it. It's a brilliant podcast and only gets better." Well, apart from Gull's impressions.
I didn't
Wink.
think
It's a wink. It's a wink. It's a winking face. It's a winking face before you get upset. Good grief.
I did. Do you know what? It's funny. When I read that, I thought, Gull hasn't commented on that.
I hadn't seen that. You know what? I don't mean to come up with all of my catchphrases again, but I'm not standing for that. I quit.
Oh. And I hope everybody's got their bingo cards out because there's your first one.
To be
And
fair
Darcy
to John,
Cotton's already made appearance, hasn't she? So that's two.
he's rattling through them because that was a week ago. He says he's up to 13, and then he replied back 4 days ago to Terry saying I'm up to 27 now. So it's
My word.
14 in the space of what, 3
Wow.
days?
Brilliant going.
At this rate, he'll be on 105 before we even recorded it.
You know what?
Hey, tell us how 103,
Yeah,
4,
tell
and
me
5 went.
Tell us because we've got no idea what to do.
That is impressive listening. That's a hell of a turnaround. I mean, I'm here on the podcast with you guys, and I really can't be bothered to make it to the end of this episode.
Well, that makes 3 of us. Okay, that's brilliant. Well, thank you, John, and thank you, Terry.
Wonderful.
Feedback on YouTube, because we do have the episodes posted on YouTube, is from Nikos. Says, thanks so much for your kind invitation. We really enjoyed it. Stay united and keep on with your great work. So
Wonderful. May I just, sorry to interrupt there, give some feedback on that. That last episode was absolutely tremendous because I wasn't here, of course, but it was such an enjoyable, and they were great guests. So really, really, really good. Sorry, carry on.
No, thank you. Yeah, but I totally agree. They're brilliant guests, and so we'll definitely have to get them going again another time. And Ozzy Lee commented on YouTube as well, but this is on
friend of the show.
Friend of the show episode.
I've got a thing soon. We've got feedback from Amanda and under.
There you go, Lee. Don't call the lawyers off. It wasn't me. It was Gull. Please. Yeah. So this is replying. Or it's a comment about the episode with Mal Dickinson. So episode 90, and he says, really moving episode, everyone. Perhaps your most personal podcast yet. Big thanks to you all for sharing stories of Roy the Rovers, especially Mal's fascinating memories of being the 1983 Mattel Electro Olympic champion. It's wonderful how your podcast has grown and is connecting so many of us who grew up with Roy and those who created the comic. Who could have imagined the internet in 1983 when we were all reading it together, different parts of the world, but sharing those same magical memories? Brilliant words.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lee. Couldn't say it better ourselves.
I tell you, Mal, yeah, he was brilliant. He was a right Bobby Dazzler.
Well, I was yeah, you've done it again, haven't you? But we just we just try and gloss over that. But I was just going to say, you mentioned our fantastic members from the Greek fan club, but I've got to say, I think we've been really lucky with all of the people that we've had the pleasure of hosting on our little podcast. Or as I said, now that we're interviewing Olympic champions, our gigantic podcast. But yeah, everybody's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, we're very lucky. We're very lucky. And just before I come off of the social media feedback, I just want to mention, because Nikos had mentioned this, I think he mentioned it live on the show. I'm sure he did. There's a get together of the unofficial Greek fan club.
Yes, he did indeed. Yes,
today on Sunday, the 3rd of November, and so there's photos on there. So I'll ask him if
Brilliant.
it's okay. And we'll post them on the Royal of the Rovers 40 years after. So there's eight of the guys there all
Great.
together. It's brilliant, isn't it? Excellent. So
Yeah, that is
well done,
brilliant.
Nikos and Stratos for. I don't. Stratos wasn't there because I think it was actually in Athens somewhere. So well done, Nikos, for
Good.
arranging that.
They sound like a really, really funky duo, though, don't they? So I'm looking forward to listening to their albums. Nikos and Stratos, yeah. Great.
Well, do you know what? I was just thinking, with the Rebellion reboot, I think it's time to tie in some of the names from our pod, and I can see a Greek duo being signed from, Panios or
Paniakos,
Niarchos or Stagos, and for Melchester in the future.
Yeah, that'd be
brilliant. Dot Corinthians.
Moving on, Matt. Just he might be hosting, but we can still take control back. That stopped in his tracks.
I know.
No, that's it. That's it. So that's the social media feedback. Gull, back to you. Hand it back to you, Gull.
No, I'm still shocked and dismayed at what Tangent just said.
Okay, get over it.
No, I'm not. I'm back. I've come back from quitting, so here I am. Okay, brilliant social media feedback then. Matt, thank you very much for that. And we'll have all social media addresses later on, of course.
Yes.
So it's time to move on to the first proper section of the show. And it sort of started properly last, 2 episodes ago now, wasn't it, of course?
Yep.
It's the Comic Collector's Corner.
Collector's Corner.
Has it got a theme tune? No, I'll think of one for next time.
Yes, it felt like you were building up to a theme tune, and then you just stopped.
I love a dear place, had a bit of you turn it to the Collector's Corner, and
you're right. Let's do it next time.
I've got to say, Gull, in all fairness, it just sounded like you were having a breakdown on air.
We usually edit those out, but I think I'll keep that one in.
Well, if you edit out all of the times that I've had those sort of I would have been on for about 3 episodes.
Sorry, I was going to say it's really wrong of me, but I've forgotten the guy that's catching up on all the pods. 8 of those 13 episodes wouldn't exist, would they, Gull?
Exactly. I don't know why I stand for this, but anyway.
That's because you're sitting down next to me in the studio.
I know, right next to each other. After that rather interesting moment, let's move on to the next section. And it's now time for... I'm only kidding, Paul. Go on then. It's your section, Collector's Corner.
Thank you, Gull. Well, actually, we're going off as is my tagline, tangent on a tangent. And the reason we're doing...
I like that.
Good, thank you. The reason we're going to do a Collector's Corner today is for those of you that are members of the Roy of the Rovers Comic 40 Years On Facebook group, Russ Port, I hope you're a listener, Russ, I think we've heard from you, but put something very interesting on the 1st of November onto the Facebook page. And he just mentioned, does anyone else here collect the actual physical comics? And I'm getting close to the full set of all the ones I want. Got every copy of Roy of the Rovers, Scorcher, Speed, Hot Shot, Score, Jag. I'm about 10 away from the full set of Hurricanes and 59 from the full set of Tigers. And this is what really got our interest peaked. And we have been speaking to Russ on the group. Then in brackets, if the mysterious 2659 one actually exists. He goes on to say he's still got quite a few specials, annuals, etc. to go. And he mentions digital versions, but I think that's kind of been covered in the group. And I'm just going to leave that there for a subject that we might touch upon in future episodes. But Russ, obviously, we picked up the challenge and we've scoured our own collections, and I'm a few away on Tiger, but I don't have a great set on that year either. But I've been scouring the internet, and I've actually found a fantastic site, which I'm going to plug for them, and it's called comics.org. And I must admit, I'm not sure if this is an individual's own collection or a group, but it's a fantastic site for everybody. So that's comics.org, and they've got scans of covers and all edition dates of many of the comics. And what's interesting, they do actually have a scan of that cover of the 20th of June 1959, but there's no then scan of the next edition, 26th of June 1959. And in fact, on that website, they refer to this edition as issue A, and then in brackets 251, which would have been the issue number. And we are kind of aware then the next issue would be the 22nd of August 1959, because we are aware that the Tiger comic wasn't published on the 4th of July 1959 to the 15th of August 1959. So this is a bit of a call out to all listeners, obviously for Russ, myself, Matt, and maybe many others, but we're happy to put Russ at the front of the queue because he's mentioned this on the group. If anybody is aware of the 20th of June 1959 Tiger, please get in touch with Russ. But then, of course, it really does bring into focus, what about this 26th of June 1959 edition that even this amazing site doesn't have a scan of, and I don't think any of us have got a copy or seen it anywhere, advertised anywhere before. Matt, I think you were going to mention something there, or?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, so yeah, it is really interesting. And Russ had mentioned that he's also struggling to find the Tigers from the back end of 1964. So if there are any listeners that do have some or willing to part with them, then let us know at the show and we'll get you in touch with Russ, unless you're on the Facebook site. So that's interesting. But yeah, this 1959 is I mean, I'm looking at some digital copies now on the screen, and I've got up to the 13th of June 1959. It then jumps to the 1st of July 1959.
So that's it's the 1st of July.
Yeah, the 1st of July. Yeah. So yeah.
Because that's interesting, because on that site, and I've taken that as gospel because I've never seen them, says that they weren't actually published from the 4th of July 59 to the 15th of August 59.
Well, this is digital copy, so I'll just,
yeah.
That's why I just kind of have that warning, because I haven't got an actual front cover
date. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it just says the 1st of, and then it jumps ahead to the 29th of August 1959, which ties in with what Russ is saying.
Yeah,
but what Russ has also got, which is fascinating, was he's actually got a copy, which is, the storyline is about the Rovers being in Venice, on a summer tour, but he's got a copy which is actually, but it's got in pencil. It's been scribbled on there as the 22nd of August 1959. So it's undated. The cover is undated, but it's just all it's got on there is the 22nd of August 1959. So it is a bit of a mystery, really. It's a typical sort of mystery that maybe Rovers would have dreamed up in a summer tour somewhere in some far off island. Is that?
Yeah.
Probably no one's been kidnapped. Russ hasn't been kidnapped, but if anybody's out there knows the answer to, when were the actual copies published officially. I mean, Russ is pretty sure he said that there was a strike at this point, at some point. So we're pretty sure there was a strike, but back to you, Paul. I'm flummoxed.
Well, just on that, you said is it the 22nd of August 1959? Yeah, it's really annoying because I actually have got a scan of that myself, but of course I haven't. Unfortunately, it's zoomed in on my website. So just if listeners can bear with me, actually, because I'm just referring on my own. But I'm just going to try and see if there is the date on that cover.
Yeah, that would be good. So, so you can find that.
22nd of August. So which should be issue 19. God, you know what? That is really interesting. No, on my scan, I'm not seeing a date on it. But I, for some reason, have also got that down as number 246, the 22nd of August. Now, why have I managed to date that as that?
But the one on the 29th, is that dated the 29th of August? Can you check on
the 2nd, the following one, 29th of August. Yeah, that is dated in the top left corner, Tiger, 29th August 1959. Skipper Roy racing his pal Manchester Rovers touring in Italy. and the week before, skipper Roy Racing his pal of Manchester Rovers touring in Italy. So I don't have a date on that, but for some reason, I mean, because it's in the same tour, I might have to like really pull them out and read the stories and see if they match up. I've got that one as the 22nd of August. So I might try and I'll try and post the scan of the image of that on the Facebook page. Which I think you put a scan on, didn't you, Matt?
No, Russ did. No, so Russ has got them. No, Russ. That's what he's just kind of saying. He's saying that he seems to have exactly what you've got. It's just that his copy is in pencil, the 22nd. It sounds like the scanned copy you've got hasn't got anything on it.
And you know something? I haven't got anything on it, and I can't remember now how I've dated that the 22nd of August. But yes, my scan does correspond with Russ's scan. So we're both dating that comic as the 22nd of August. Yeah.
So there you go.
I'll have to try and pull out the one. Maybe when Gull's doing his feature as well, I'll try and pull out the physical one and see if I can find any reference to why it wasn't published or not. Sorry, Gull?
You're not going to listen to my feature?
I can listen and pull comics off the shelves, and that's been proven in more than one episode.
You do it in every
fantastic.
What are you talking about? You zoom off into the distance like a Doctor Who intro.
The problem is with these, and that just out for listeners that are interested, the early ones are not A4 size, and I don't actually have my display cases for them. So they're actually in a big box just down in the bottom corner, and I've got to kind of wade through those a little bit. Right, so, well, as we said, anybody out there that's got any news on that, and watch this space, because I think it's certainly piqued our interest. So really thanks for that, Russ, because we're enjoying the search for these editions. But on that, a couple of other things, but just, I know there are a lot of collectors out there, and this does kind of catch people out. So as we've said, we believe the comic wasn't published, but let me just give you these. So these first dates, 4th of July 1959 to 15th of August 1959. But as you've just heard from our conversation, we potentially need to investigate this a little bit further. But what we do know is Tiger again wasn't published on the 2nd of December 1978 to the 16th of December 1978 due to industrial disputes with the print, so the comics weren't produced, and also on the 24th of May 1980 to the 21st of June 1980 as well. And when I was looking at this, in fact, for those of you that don't know, and I might plug my website in a bit if I get a nod from the guys in the studio, I don't have full scans of the comics, but on my website, which is bushfields.com, and then if you click on the Bushfields icon, it will take you to just loads of icons with the titles of the comics. If you click onto the comics, for most of my collection, I've managed to scan the covers, and you can then obviously see the covers, but it also acts as a good checklist and reference point. But as I've been doing that, yesterday I was doing something, then suddenly I was coming along my collection of 1983 and dating the scans. I thought, hold on, this is really weird. And I've got an issue I've actually put this also on the Facebook group page. I've got an issue which is dated on the comic as the 3rd of March 1983, but it is in actual fact the 5th of March 1984. So I found that quite interesting.
It's not just the year that's wrong, because it's the actual day in the month as well.
It's wrong. Yeah, as far as if you follow the every Tuesday when the comic should be released, it should have been then the 5th of March 1984. And as I say, but that's actually got that date. So of course that can throw some people out as well. If you're scanning eBay and there are people out there selling, they might not have that down, and of course you could be looking for a comic 5th of March 1984 and of course it not showing, because if unless people are really aware of that, they won't be listing that date. Question out. I think we had something similar on a Roy the Rovers one, and unfortunately I didn't have enough time, so I couldn't remember the edition. What I can't tell you at the moment is if anybody else, or if that comic in fact was ever produced with the correct date on it. Now I mentioned this comics.org, and I double checked his scans, and his scan of that comic is exactly the same as mine, and is in fact dated the 3rd of March 1983. But it's interesting, but he on his website has it down then as the 3rd of March 1984. but trust me, it should be the 5th of March 1984.
I trust you, Paul.
This is really
I don't trust you with everything, but I trust you with that.
Yeah. I don't know you interrupt him with a podcast.
No, and well, you'd be wise not to. So yes, thanks, Russ, for that. That's really interesting stuff. And watch this space. I think this is going to be a regular feature, and I'm sure we'll revisit it. But I've just got a couple of other things for Collectors Corner. I just thought, obviously, I'm aware of this mainly for Roy the Rovers. I just thought, again, for collectors out there, if you are listening, just a reminder again, of course, there were several dates when Roy the Rovers wasn't published as well due to industrial action. And so those are in 1978, the 2nd, 9th and 16th of December. And then in 1980, the 24th and 31st of May, the 7th, 14th and 21st of June, 1980. And then this is one that Gull always picks up. And I agree with Gull when you're collecting the comics, and you will see discrepancies out there on the internet, people saying how many copies of Roy the Rovers there is. Myself and Gull, we agree that double issues count as one comic. But there are, in fact, two double issues of Roy the Rovers Weekly. So the first one is the 21st to the 28th of December 1991. And then interestingly, the other one is dated 26th of December - 2nd of January 1993.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. So I agree as well. It's like who's right or wrong, but I think it's the actual, that's the copies. Yeah. There's no,
yeah.
You count them. If you physically count them.
One comic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and it's really interesting as well. If I switch back to Tiger briefly, and it really caused sorry for those, you probably realised the nerd in me. I have an Excel spreadsheet with all the dates and what they should be of the publications. So I have the issue number and then the dates. And of course, Tiger, if you go back to issue number 78, now Tiger used to actually put the issue number on the cover of the Tiger comic.
Yeah.
And on the 3rd of March 1956, it actually said edition 78 to 84.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so they didn't print any editions from the 10th of March to the 14th of April, but it was clearly marked as edition 78 to 84. And then on the 21st of April 1956, they labelled that next Tiger edition as comic 85. As far as I'm concerned, it's comic 79.
Yeah,
because it's the physical number 79. So I've kind of
brackets there, don't you? Extra notes. Yeah.
Well, again, on my website on Bushfields, you've got the Tiger date and then the Tiger issue number, and then actually below it write the actual issue number.
Yeah.
And so, because you can imagine, then when they took the numbers off, it becomes a bit easier again. But I found it really strange that Tigers, say if I look at Tiger edition issue number 142 in 1957, it is actually the 136th physical copy of the comic. I hope I'm not complicating everybody too much here.
Hang on, I'm just writing all this down. Hang on.
Can you just go over it all over again, please?
Yeah. Not from the actual start. But yeah.
Where this gets complicated.
No, go on.
I was just going to say it is edition 78, which is on edition 78, and they had the numbers. It says 78 to 84, but the next physical copy of Tiger on the numbering on the cover then said 85, but it was in fact the 79th physical comic.
Yeah, when I asked you to repeat that again, I was just joking.
Yeah,
I didn't really.
No,
want
I know,
to,
but it's complicated. Yeah.
Hang on, I'm just writing all this down again.
But do you think? I'm thinking that the reasons for that. I think this is maybe it's just to do. Clearly, they were working on those episodes, weren't they? They were working on those, so maybe it's something to do with operationally or legally or something like that. Maybe they had to document them down. Do you see what I mean? Because clearly on that comic, there's not, say, you haven't got six volumes. It's not like suddenly it's
no, and it's
loads of pages. It's a normal size. It's a normal size comic. But I'm just thinking, why would they do that? That's what I'm kind of thinking. I'm thinking maybe it's something to do with.
I don't get it. And as we say, when we get to 1959, the editions aren't, it's not this date to that date. The comic just disappears and then reappears,
Maybe they
on the
get
next day.
they because they got paid, clearly people were working on this, and so they only got paid for certain
Yeah.
episodes. And so they're
Yeah.
saying, well, actually, if this is all part of your contract, you need to be working on this amount of episodes, and that's why, even though it's just one weekly comic, they put 78 to 84. It is bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the only time I ever known. And just touching briefly, I mean, obviously the double editions of Roy of the Rovers, which obviously were years later in
Over the
91 and
Christmas
93,
period,
they
yeah,
actually were double editions.
yeah. That's
And in
more
fact,
makes more sense.
the comic, I think, was something like 55 pence weekly. And that first year, I think it was like 95p or 99p. So it
Right.
also,
Okay.
the price had gone up, and it was physically, like you say, the stories, instead of being 2 pages, were 4 pages,
Yeah.
etc.
So a double issue by date, but a singular issue by issue number. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. It does get muddy when you discuss this, but yeah.
Well, let's
Yeah,
face it. They call it double issue just to kind of make it sound more exciting, don't they? Go special
because
double
it's for
issue,
two
don't they?
weeks.
It's promotion. It's
And
being promoted, isn't it? Yeah.
And it is interesting, for all those years, and I know kind of obviously we're getting to that time of year from Royal Rovers. I think that's got to be doing something to do with print runs or something, because it was both, 91, 21st to 28th of December, and then 93, 26th of December to 2nd of January. So over that Christmas period. So I reckon it must have been something to do with print runs. Oh, look, for whatever reason, we're not going to get this to press 2 weeks worth. So we get it early and
Or
bundling
maybe
it.
saving money as well.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
doing it in one go
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Thinking about it's 93, and
Mm.
as we know, it's just about to fold the weekly comic.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never heard this amount of numbers mentioned in such a short time in our podcasts.
My
It's
brain
amazing.
hurts. My brain hurts.
And that's why,
I need to lie
listeners,
down.
I'm normally kept away from Collector's Corner.
That
But
is
just
fascinating,
once
though.
again, a massive thanks to Russ Paul for that
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks,
post on
Russ.
the page, and really interesting. And I hope that the listeners found that interesting. I've just got one final thing from Collector's Corner. I'm not going to go through issues, but I've got a kind of question for the listeners. So I think, as you all know, I mean, when we speak to Gull, obviously he's got his Doctor Who and Scream and other interesting in comic. And I know Ridders has mentioned, I think it's I was going to say DC, is it DC or Marvel, is it?
Yes.
The superhero stuff. I mean, I'm very much just all football based. So just going to say, so in my collection is Roy the Rovers, Hot Shot, Gary Lineker's Hot Shot, Tiger, Score and Raw, Scorcher, Speed, because of the Mickey Flash Jordan story, Action, Lefty, Scoop, Striker 3D, obviously the fantastic Nick Jarvis, Pete Nash, who obviously friend of the show, Spike, Victor, Football Picture Story Monthly, Buddy, and then also Match Magazine, but featuring the Canon story. So I'd just like to ask listeners out there, and I know things like Hurricane and Lion, but is there any other actual completely football based comic that I've missed, or that we've missed, or any other obviously weekly comics that had football stories in them? It'd be really great to hear from you on that.
Of course, a side issue. I mean, they would have been collectible back in the day from the newspapers. Would have been Scorer, but of course that's the only format that's ever been available in.
That's right. Yeah.
If you didn't collect them at the time, then unless you find old issues of newspapers on eBay, you're not going to find them, which is such a shame with the rights, and very much a shame.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's it from me, Gull, on Collector's Corner.
No way. You finished?
I know. It didn't even take me 2 hours.
I know. No, seriously, though, fascinating stuff. And we really went in depth there, didn't we?
Well, definitely interesting stuff, and I'm sure we're going to revisit this Tiger stuff from those dates. And I think we will touch on, Matt, you did touch on, it is interesting, is it 64? There are other years, for some reason, that we all seem to really struggle on certain years. So it's, you wonder if the print runs weren't so big or not. But as I say, I'm sure we'll we'll pick up on that in future collectors' corners.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you guys both know that, with the collections I have, I'm very interested in, like, dating issue numbers and stuff like that. So that the collector's corner segment is just brilliant for me, and I'm sure it helps listeners as well who do collect. Thank you very much, Paul.
You're welcome. Thank you.
No, thank you. It's a bit issues heavy at the moment, isn't it? Because we now move on to my very brief regular section called Gull's Got Issues. I still haven't thought of a theme tune yet, but I will, I promise. I'm giving my voice a bit of a rest this week, aren't I? Oh no, this week I yeah, just laugh at your own jokes, Brett. Never mind. So this week,
I chuckled along for you.
Well, I think that was more sympathy, but I can take it. So this time it is the Football Picture Story Monthlies. And what have we covered so far? Scream and the Roy of the Rovers Monthly. And there was one more, and I've forgotten. Do you recall what the other one was? Nope, it will come back to me.
I think that was it. I mean, we kind of mentioned the shoot, didn't we, when we did the monthly, but
yes, that's
which carried the Roy of the Rovers story, but yeah.
Yeah, which is very helpful that you added that information. So the Football Picture Story Monthly, which of course most listeners will remember, ran from issue 1 to issue 418. So issue 1 came out on the 10th of June, 1986. And of course, that was Stark Mission in Mexico. And just to mention, of course, at the same time, issue 2 came out, which was We Are United, the first United story, which I remember seeing on holiday in Newquay. We've touched upon this in the past, that most of us seem to find these things on holiday. And I was just amazed to see that the United story had continued. And what a day that was, yes. Of course, I only give you the beginning and end dates and issue numbers. Otherwise, I'd be going through 418, and that would be rather stupid.
Almost as long as one of my sections, Gull.
No, never. No, you're in the Guinness Book of Records, you are. So, issue 418, that last issue was on the 14th of October 2003. So it ran for 7 years. 17 years.
Yeah.
I know.
The tongue.
Matt, your face then was brilliant. I realised the error of my ways. Yes, so it ran for 17 years. That's right, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you. 2 issues a month, wasn't it?
Yep.
And the penultimate one was a United story, wasn't it? The Dream 417. But the last one was called. Can you remember? I'm testing you now, guys.
Oh,
a century
of football or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one which we've covered in a previous episode. And that's it. That's the Football Picture Story Monthly, beginning and end date. God, I'll get my words out in a minute. And issue numbers. So if any of the listeners have a request of any comics that they want me to supply the issue numbers for, I would be more than happy to do so. And go on. Oh, hello.
No, I was just going to say, Gull, sorry, apologies if you don't mind me jumping in, because I wondered my listeners might sort of query, because we've actually given actual dates. And of course, on the Football Picture Story monthlies, they were just the numbers, right?
Yes.
So, and also, they just kind of were monthlies. How we've actually given them the actual date was from adverts in Victor Comic advertising the releases. And from that, when they said that this would be on sale from such and such a date, we figured it out. I can't remember. It's something like the 2nd or the 3rd Tuesday of every month. So that's how we've actually given them a date.
I think it was the 2nd, but could be 3rd. You might be right there. But yeah, we don't just do a podcast, do we, gents? We actually do research before we come live. which is amazing. But no, we really went into that quite deeply, didn't we, Tangent? And it was quite a passion for me as well. Also worth mentioning, and I will throw to Tangent again, that there were 2 specials of the Football Picture Story Monthly. I'll throw that to you there, Paul.
Yeah, so I'm actually struggling to as in get an actual date for the first Football Picture Story special. But what I can tell you is there's John Aldridge on the cover with Tony Adams, and we can date this in 1988 because there's a little foreword and it says the 1988 European Championship finals mean a feast of football. It's the perfect setting for many of the game's greatest stars. So, and also in the centre spread, there's pictures of the Republic of Ireland and England team with UEFA 1988 on that. But we can't actually put an actual date, as in, which I'm going to a specific date. And that the reason I'm kind of mentioning that as well was because we then get to the second Football Picture Story Monthly, and I am in fact able to date that through 2 reasons. Because in the inside cover it actually mentions if you enjoy the Football Picture Story Monthly special, you can there are the monthlies, and it shows an advert for the Goal Maker and Out of the Shadows. So that's editions 76 and 74. But also in Victor, it is advertised in 1989 that the Football Picture Story special will be on sale Friday, May the 12th, 1989. So we can actually date that one, the second one. So as I go through my Victors, I kind of go through the pages, and if I find an advert for the other special, I will scan that and then share it with everybody as well.
May I just for the listeners' point of view, forgive me, Paul, can I just clarify with you, you said issue 76 and 74?
Yeah, I know. I just thought that myself, actually. It's very interesting because that's just the advert. I'm now just holding this up and showing Gull and Matt. And it is interesting, actually. It's not two concurrent issues. They've just obviously picked those 2 as part of the advert. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Genuinely, I thought that you'd forgive me.
No, when I was looking at it, I've even got my magnifying glass out for those of you, making sure I'm definitely reading that correctly. It is 76.
So you're looking through your own glasses and a magnifying glass.
I'm of that age now.
I tell you, I'm surprised that you didn't burn a hole in the comic there from the sunlight going through 2 lenses.
My lights are out and the windows and the curtains are drawn. That was never going to happen.
But no, it's very good work, of course, on the second special there. Great to get an absolute specific date. Really good work. So that's my God's Got Issues for this episode. Football Picture Story Monthly. There you go.
Thank you very much. Paul. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Right. Moving swiftly on. We haven't heard too much from him tonight, have we, Paul?
Not yet.
Is he on mute?
Ha ha ha. Very good. Very good.
All right. Sarcastic. It's now time for Matt's section. And he is doing... Matt?
Yeah, well, if anybody's listening earlier, I'll tell you, I'm doing Tommy's Troubles. I'm going to cover the creation of Barnes United. So Tommy's Troubles, obviously, it's a major story in Roy the Rovers. Lasted from, the very first Roy the Rovers, 25th of September 1976, initially till the 21st of September 1985. And then it came back in December 1985 until the 16th of August 1986. So it came back popular demand. So it's one of the most famous stories that was in Roy the Rovers. We haven't really covered it in depth yet. Yeah. Well, I enjoyed it. But it's like anything. You go on Facebook or forums, or some people will go, "Oh yeah, I loved it, I read it all the time," and it's a bit like Hard Man. It's a bit like all of them, really. Some Mighty Mouse. Some loved it, some hated it. But it's a classic story, and I'm sharing some pages with the guys here on the screen. and we're going to go through the story. So, written by the famous Fred Baker, who wrote so many fantastic stories, and the artist was a guy called Ramiro Bigeiro.
I'm pleased you
I think
pronounced that. Yeah.
Well, but I don't know if I pronounced it right. But he's another one of the Argentinian artists, and I've actually tried to contact him because I think he's still alive. Tried to contact him through this company called Osprey Publications. He's been doing some illustrations for like some military books,
Oh, wow.
stuff like that. Yeah. And so anyway, I've sent him an email via them and asked him to contact us. And who knows, if we get a response, I'll let everybody know. But yeah, so yeah, Ramiro Bigeiro, and so the story. So first of all, the story of Tommy's troubles is actually at a school called St. John's Road School, and he becomes mates with Ginger Collins. I think initially he's like Ginger helps him with his schoolwork, and Tommy helps Ginger with his football skills. Ginger wasn't very good at football initially, although I do seem to remember him becoming pretty good actually, in goal and on the pitch. Yeah. Interesting, in the first week, Tommy actually gets selected for the England schools versus Scotland schools. And he actually plays at Wembley and he scores 2 goals, beating Scotland 3-0. So what a start. And when you think about over the years, the struggles he had, he was playing for England schools from week 1, which is quite interesting. But then he finds out he has to change schools. And they moved to a school called Crowhurst. And of course, famously, as we know, anybody who followed the story, Crowhurst don't play football. They played rugger, and obviously that's where he meets Waller and Swate, his nemesis.
I'm going to do a Durham on you.
Is it Waller?
I always call in my mind. I always say
I think it is Waller. I think it is Waller. Yeah, I think it's like Waller or Waller. I feel like I'm singing like to Greece.
Yeah,
but it is Waller though. Probably is Waller. So they go to Crowhurst, and the head actually agrees to them forming a team. They win the district cup in their very first season, so this is fantastic. But right now, we move on to the actual story. What happens is, this is a bit strange, but the council actually says that they forbid the school from fielding a soccer team. So the council decide.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't want to read too much into it. I haven't questioned the council myself to check the minutes of the meeting. But I'm not going to argue with them. So what you find then is Tommy then talks to Ginger, and they say, well, Ginger actually says to him, "We're not going to give up, are we?" And Tommy's like, "No, we'll find a ground and somewhere to train. We'll get our team together and we'll hold a meeting tonight." So they all get together, and they just decide that we're going to have to try and find their own ground and join a local league, and we'll show them. But at this point, though, some of the players that were playing for Crowhurst, they can't play anymore. One says one says he's moving schools, another one's emigrating to Australia. Anyway, what they eventually find out is that they're left with only 5 players. So so straight away, from winning the district cup, then they're told that the school won't play football, and then he loses half the team. To make matters worse, in this week's episode, he has to actually fight Waller, so Adam Waller. So you have him in the boxing match, and Waller kind of pounds 7 types of out of him, and you can see it on the screen.
I was just going to say it's interesting. I'd sort of forgotten this, and sort of seen, looking at the images again here now. I mean, Waller looks almost as if he's 2 years above Tommy Barnes, right? He does significantly bigger.
He looks 24. Tommy looks about 12.
12, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they fight, and in the end, like Adam Waller, he wins. Mr. Walden stops it. But to be fair to Tommy, he's like, he's given as good as he could, and he said, "I'm not giving in, sir." And they end up shaking hands. But then, just after the end of the boxing match, suddenly it's Peter, who's a member of the team. He comes up to him. He goes, "Barnes, Tommy, I've got some news. We've got a football ground, a field. My dad's fixed it. We can play there anytime." and you got Tommy there with a black eye there,
Yeah.
saying, smashing. That's the best thing I've heard today. I mean, bearing in mind he's just been beaten to a pulp. I'm sure
Yeah.
anything he hears will be good.
Positive news.
But anyway, so that's good news. So next week, story continues. So they're walking through a field. Peter's leading the way. It's Tommy and Ginger. Tommy's like, are you certain this is the way to the field? You go, yeah, sure, Tommy. We came this way when the man showed me the field before. And then Peter then points at the field, and you see his dilapidated barn, and just overgrown.
Oh, Barnes United.
Oh, could be. Oh, maybe.
Ooh.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Oh, I don't know.
Ooh.
So they have a look around it, and it's in a real mess. But I opened the barn door, and it's like, oh yeah, this could be the dressing rooms. And then Skinny's there. Do you remember Skinny? Skinny
Yeah,
was in
Skinny
the team,
Lane.
the tall, lanky
Skinny Lane.
Skinny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Skinny Lane.
Skinny lad.
Yeah, he's there. But so this is the first time that there's a thought bubble from Tommy's head. He's co-feared. His hair was quite amazing, wasn't it, Tommy Barnes?
It was never changed.
Never changed, but it's very coiffeured, wasn't it? Very Buffon, wasn't it?
Buffon. Yeah, I was going to say Buffon.
Yeah.
Stylized.
Yeah, I mean the hairspray. You must have gone through tons of lacquer. Was it Elnet? What was the
Yeah, it was Elnet, wasn't it?
Elnet.
Sorry, slight tangent. Would it be wrong of me to say New Romantics before New Romantic Age or not?
I think that New Romantic was probably after.
Yeah,
that's what
this is 1977.
Yeah.
So this story runs from 4th of June 77 to the 30th of July. So this is punk, really.
Yeah.
So or disco.
That is not a punk hairstyle.
That's not a punk hairstyle.
I mean, I was going to say if it's disco hairstyle, then blimey, you know who would be there, don't you?
Hedgehog
Jones.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Slight nod to Riddis there. Slight nod to Riddis. Good evening, Riddis.
So anyway, so he's got a thought bubble, and what he can visualize is a beautiful pitch, manicured and laid out, and he's got a goalpost, and then the barn is transformed into this dressing room with emblazoned across the side. You have Barnes United FC painted on there. So there hasn't been a discussion about what this team's going to be called yet, but in his mind, Tommy's like, no, my team. We're calling it Barnes United. There's no Collins City, no Ginger Collins City. Skinny's not going to be mentioned in there.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you get to work, and you got them painting the barn, and with the oldest lawnmowers in the world. They must have got an Antiques Roadshow. They're cutting the grass, and they've got a roller from. Where do you get a roller? Where would you get a roller from?
Do you know something? I've wondered this down the years, because I swear the only time I ever saw rollers in this period of my life were in Tommy's Troubles.
Maybe Bay City.
Oh.
Very, okay. Mid-70s, I'll give you that. So then they have to get a kit. So they talk to Ginger's mother about that, and she said, if your team ever gets any shirts, I'll wash them for you after each match. She said, oh, thanks, Mum, Ginger says. And so Tommy's off to ask the headmaster if they can have the shirts they had at Crowhurst, and he's like, no, I'm afraid the shirts have been given to the rugger teams, Barnes, but you can use the goalposts. That's like, thank you. The rugger sides can't use those. Yeah, thanks for that, headmaster. We get that. Yeah, thank you. So they carry the goal. They've got the goalposts. They're playing in white shirts, and they're on the pitch. But there's only 5 of them. So it's Peter, Skinny, Ginger, and Tommy. It sounds like the 5 go mad or something like that, doesn't it?
So you've got
Tommy the dog.
Tommy, Ginger, Skinny, and Peter, and we know if we have a name for the 5th one at the time or not.
No, I don't know. He's just standing there.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure that's Peter Davey, isn't it? Peter Davey, Skinny Lane, Ginger Collins, and Tommy Barnes.
Yeah, there's the other one there.
Davey, Dozy, Beaky, Mick, and
Titch. Yeah. Sorry.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So it continues, and so he's right off to the local league, because what they want to do is trying to get a friendly. So he gets a letter back from them, and they say, they'll play you in a friendly next week to see if your pitch is good enough. But of course, they've only got 5 players. But also, they say they want us to wear dark shirts because the league team will play in white. And Skinny's, he's quite clever. Skinny's going, but we've only got white shirts. Yeah, thanks, Skinny. And Skinny's had enough now. Let's pack it in, Tommy. No team, no shirts. We only got a decent match ball. We've no chance. Mr. Positive is Skinny.
Yeah.
And Tommy's like, no, we're going to have a football team. We're not going to be beaten by a few rules and regulations. We'll think of something.
Sorry, Matt. Can I just stop you there? Just 2 things there. I love that. Obviously, yeah. We're not going to be beaten by a few rules, as in you should have 11 in a football team. There's only 5.
Minor detail.
Yeah. It's amazing. How draconian of them. But the other thing is, when Tommy's got the letter from the league, you've got Ginger and Skinny on some ladders, and they're painting on the side of the barn. And I've got to say that these guys, they should be. Really, forget football. They should be setting up their own sign company, because the Barnes United that they're painting is absolutely perfect. I mean, if I was doing that at that age, it wouldn't look anything like that. Sorry, I don't know why. That's just really tickled me for some bizarre reason.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I love it. And even in the last frame, you've got Ginger there looking so sad and crestfallen. But he's made two nice cups of tea. Never mind, have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Everything will be fine.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they put up so this is a genius idea. So they need to get more players. They've got 5. They need to get more players. So what do? What would you do, Paul? What would you do, Gull? I'll tell you what they do. They make it. Yeah, they make a sign, a wooden sign, and they just bang it in the ground.
Yeah.
With an arrow.
Yeah.
So
I might have been asking around school, maybe an advert in the local rag or something, but yeah.
Yeah, they just stick a sign by the side of the road.
In fact, if you
think about it.
Go.
I was going to say what I love is you asking me the question, Matt, and then just not just telling me the answer.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me have an opinion there. What would you do, Gull? Just thanks, mate.
Sorry, Gull, but of course that's Matt. History, the weakest link, and the Master Champ Challenge. He thought I'd just give you the answer. It'd be easier.
Oh, that's low. You went now.
The listeners who don't know what we're talking about, well,
you don't want to. Oh,
actually, he's only up to episode 27. He's got those yet to come, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Let's not spoil the surprise.
Let's not spoil the surprise.
He's got to get to
so,
us.
All right, back to Barnes United.
That was a low blow, that tangent.
So now they've got to get the dressing rooms up to spec as well. So they've got some boards and they're painting some boards, and then suddenly the kid who we haven't got a name for yet, he turns up with a bag of clothes hooks from somewhere. So my dad let me have them, throwouts from his firm. So clearly his dad works for a clothes hook manufacturer. They're very, very big in the 70s. Peter turns up and he goes, "It looks really great." Yeah. And Tommy's going, "Yeah, I reckon they'll let us join the league, all right." Yeah, because we've got clothes hooks. But then Skinny pipes up. He goes, "Oh, quick, come here. There's a gang of kids riding bikes all over our pitch." And so some kids have turned up on bikes and they go, "Hey, you lot, pack it up. Get off our pitch." But these are kids who actually have seen the sign. They've seen the sign and they've turned up for a trial. But they've got a bit of attitude, these kids. They start playing the game. But one kid has actually, this shows you how confident he was. He's actually turned up in a goalkeeper's jersey with a number 1 on the back. Like, he's got a full kit. Would say full kit wanker, but I don't want to swear. So he's
but you're going to anyway.
Oh yeah, so he's turned up. So he's there. But the other players they're fouling and they're not really kind of entering in the spirit, but they're not really actually that good either. But Tommy gets the ball and he hits it with his left foot, and the keeper is brilliant. And he just like parries the ball over, and Tommy can't beat him. So they found a really good goalkeeper anyway. So that's good. But Ginger's thinking, well, because Ginger used to go and goal as well, I don't remember. But he's going, "Oh God, this kid's is a better goalie than I am. He's got class. Tommy will have to choose him for the team. And if he's in goal, that's me finished. I can't shoot or dribble or anything." We can make cups of tea, I suppose, can't he? Make cups of tea.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I won't get a game.
He might be able to dribble his tea.
Oh God.
Oh God. I won't get a game. I'll be out of Barnes United before it's even started. I think to myself, Ginger, just get your own team.
Yeah,
Collins
exactly.
City. You don't need Tommy.
Ginger Whingers FC.
Ginger Winters. I'm glad you didn't say anything else that rhymes with Ginger
No,
or
I
Ginge.
didn't think about it, and then I caught myself.
Thank you. So now they've got 6 players because they've got Gordon. Gordon's joined them. They hook in Tubby. Now, this is funny because Tubby's gone off fishing for the summer and he's fallen asleep. And they've left a note there saying, "You will have more luck if you play football." They just leave a note by him. This is Ginger and Tommy. And they walk away. Then Ginger wakes up. No, not Ginger. Tubby wakes up and he's looked at the note. And well, first of all, he's caught a fish because it's in his net. There's a fish in his net. He's looked in his eye. He's thinking, "Oh my God, I caught a fish!" And he's picked up a note. Which he's read the note saying, "If you play football, you'll be lucky." And he's like, "Oh my God, this is weird." And then suddenly, there's a couple of gypsies just happen to be in the field, lighting a fire, looking very Romany, with like gypsies do. And he's like, "Oh my God."
Baby, light my fire.
And he just shouts out, "Thank you very much. I'll do what you say," as if the gypsies have left in the note saying, "If you play football, you get lucky." That's how. Anyway.
Yeah, brilliant.
I'll move on. Move on. So back at the pitch, the following day, Gordon's said there's 2 friends he knows. The Johnson twins, not the Thompson twins.
Not the Thompson twins, the Johnson twins.
No?
You're waiting for me.
I'm waiting for the Thompson twins, but God, you know what? You let me down.
Best with Dr. Dream.
Is that a Thompson twins?
Sorry, yeah, I should have gone for. I should,
should have gone for a hit.
Doctor.
Yes, thank you. There we go. There we go. You got it.
I got a bad case of loving you. Now I know that was a different song, but I just thought I'd throw you.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, the Johnson twins, not the Thompson twins. So you've got Henry and Harry. So yeah, they're not very good. But then you've got a couple more players anyway. But then Tubby turns up and he's like, "Yeah, can I play on Saturday?" Gypsy fortune teller said I'd have good luck with my fishing if I played footer. I was like, "A gypsy told you that? A fortune teller?" Ginger's like, "Fancy that. Of course you can play with us, Tubby. That's a bit of good luck for us." Then suddenly this random guy who looks a bit like Crocodile Dundee just turns up and he goes, unpronounced, says, "I've got something for you, lads." They don't know who he is. "I've got something for you, lads. A set of football shirts and shorts. I found him in my attic."
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So,
all right.
Anyway. I'm sorry, Matt. You say Crocodile Dundee. I say something from Out of the Waltons.
He doesn't.
Good night, Barbie Joe, or whatever it was.
Jim Bob, John Boy.
Either way, register needs to be checked.
Yes, it does. Why don't you come up in my attic and I'll show you some football shirts? Yeah. That classic one, eh? Never falling in for that one again. Anyway, moving on quickly.
Yeah, I think we should do.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. So anyway, they've changed into these shirts and they're very big and they're a bit old-fashioned, but that's all they've got. So they're practicing before the match. Ginger's still not very good. He's missed kicking the ball and it hits one of the Johnson twins on the head. But Gordon Wells is still playing well anyway, so that's good. The game moves on, and now they're still desperate to get more players in. Now Tommy, and he's got his boots around his neck, like tied with laces around the neck. People used to do that, didn't they? Didn't they have the boots tied together with laces and held around the neck?
Yeah, I remember that.
You don't see that anymore, do you?
No,
I just thought I'd mention it. Yeah. I won't mention it again. Anyway, there's a newspaper boy called Dave.
Dave? Hang on. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. Oh, here we go. Ready?
Yes.
Hello, Dave. You're my wife now. Thank you so much. I've waited 90 episodes to do that. I've lost 50% of our audience with that, but the other 50% will know what I was doing.
Those 2 people. Okay. So anyway,
Is that
Dave,
bad?
it is Dave. But
Tangent's lost it.
Dave can
No,
make
no.
it. But Dave's got a mate called Charlie Edwards, so he's going to ask Charlie Edwards to turn out as well. So here we go. So now they're at the league side have turned up at Barnes United's pitch, and they go out to meet them. They turn up actually in the coach because they're really quite professional. Tommy actually introduces himself to the league officials, and he goes, "Oh well, Barnes, I can see you've worked quite hard here. The pitch looks quite good." Tommy goes, "Yeah, the changing rooms are in the barn, sir. We had to make them ourselves too." So they're all getting changed. Um, And then we see the very first team list for Barnes United FC's pins up on the wall. So I'm going to go through it. So we have Gordon Wells in goal, Ian Talbot, Skinny Lane, and Dave Lowe in defence. They're only playing a three-man
Yeah,
defence.
interesting. Playing a three-man defence, yeah.
The Johnson twins were in midfield with Charlie Edwards, Charles. You got Peter Darley,
Oh, that's it. Sorry.
Ginger Collins, Tommy Barnes, and Tubby Jones. So they're playing four in attack. They're going offensive. They're going for the
Go
win.
for it. Just one query there, and I don't know if my memory's going bad, or I always thought it was Peter Davey. But you're
it might. Well, it says. I don't know. The writing says Darley.
Yeah, I'm sure that does say Darley.
From the listener's point of view, both gentlemen have gone right up close to their screen, like their pensioners looking through their glasses.
But then I stand corrected because Paul has got a magnifying glass.
Yeah, and it says Darley, but it does say Darley, and it's really But that's got me. So I'm wondering.
That's okay, darling.
Sometimes. I'm going off on a massive tangent, but many years there was a character in Durrell's Palace called Bobby Cope. And then when he went off to America for surgery, when he came back, he came back as Bobby Cole, C-O-L-E.
Oh,
so I'm just wondering if this is one of those cases in Tommy Barnes where a character's name actually sort of changes in the story. But sorry for that little tangent.
No, I like that. Maybe he couldn't cope in America.
Maybe
very good.
Maybe it's an equity thing. Maybe he had to change his name. There's another comic character, and so he had to change his name.
Yeah, there's another. Yeah, it could be.
Anyway, okay. So the game starts off. They haven't got a referee. Barnes United should have supplied their own referee. So the league official says, "Oh, it's okay. I'll do it. Never mind." So they start. So the game starts, and Gordon makes a good save. But the league side scored just before half time. So they were a goal down. Then at this point, Charlie Edwards says, "I've got to go home now." And Tommy goes, "Go home? You can't. You're in the middle of a match." And he goes, "I told Dave I can only play the first half. I have to go home and babysit. My mum's got to go out." Like, yeah, thanks, Charlie. Then the referee comes over and goes, "Well, shall we get started in the second half, lads?" He goes, "Yeah, okay, yes, sir, we're ready." And he goes, "Oh, it's warm work, this referee in Barnes. I'm looking forward to a nice bath at the end of this. I hope you've got plenty of hot water." Of course, they haven't got hot water, have they? Tommy's thinking,
"Oh, crikey, yes, I wondered."
Absolute schoolboy error.
Literally, yeah, absolutely. I suppose if you're a schoolboy, you are allowed to make schoolboy errors, aren't you? Potentially.
Yeah, true.
So they're down to 10 men. The second half starts. Tubby hits the post. Tommy buries a rebound. It's 1-1. That's the first goal ever scored by Barnes United. So history is made by Tommy. The game continues. There's goal line clearances. There's a great save. But then they concede a penalty when Ginger inadvertently saves a shot. So Gordon misses it and Ginger handballs it, saving it. Anyway, so they concede the penalty and they actually end up losing the game 3-1. But the league official was happy with the standard of football on the ground. But this is when he goes, "And now for a good hot bath. There's nothing like a bath after a hard game." And all they've done, they just pour in a kettle into a little bowl. And he's like, "I'm sorry, but all league grounds must have a bath." But so he actually, they drive away the league team. They go, "Look, I'll come and inspect your washrooms next week. If you've got a bath, you'll be okay." And Tommy says, "Okay, we'll do our best." Now they've got to get hold of a bath. So what do? As luck would have it, not only have they got a roller in these fields, but they find 3 cattle troughs just lying
Yeah,
around in
yeah,
the
brilliant.
undergrowth. And I go, yeah,
What a
these will do.
surprise.
What a surprise. And also, who would know it? But Ginger is a bit of a whiz when it comes to plumbing, because what he's done,
Yeah,
he manages to rig up a hot water system in the space of 2 panels. So that's
yeah.
pretty good by just putting a trough over a fire. So he's just set fire and he's got hot water. It's genius, isn't it? Really?
So I love as well the fact it's not even a tap; it's just like a pipe with a bung. You take the bung out, and then the hot water flows. But of course, you are missing the fact Ginger wears glasses. Therefore,
He's clever.
he's clever, he's intelligent. He understands and knows everything. He just can't play football at this point.
At this point. At this point. Yeah.
All
That's right.
3 of us wear glasses.
No. It only applies when you're young and at school.
Well,
Yeah.
I am young.
Let's move on.
Moving on.
So the baths pass the inspection.
I see.
Wow.
Then they, oh, incredible. Yeah, I don't think this it was a professional inspector really. He was just happy to have a hot bath
Yeah,
really.
well, yeah.
So he goes, yeah, this seems to be all right, Barnes. It's a homemade bath, but it seems quite good enough. You can play in the league next season. Thanks, sir. Could you fix us up with a match, a friendly? We'd like as much practice as we can get. Fropton Villa are free next week. You could play them on their ground. It's very pleasant there. Fropton's 20 miles away. Never mind. We'll take the fixture, sir. Thanks. So now they've got to get to Fropton Villa. So he calls a meeting of the players, and what he decided to do is, yeah, they actually managed to get a lorry for Tommy's uncle, and he gives them all a lift to the Fropton Villa. It's actually a fete. There's going to be a fete on the day of the match. So there's a poster up, and it's a 3 o'clock kickoff. So as a bit of a practice in the fete, they actually take part in a score 3 goals and win a prize competition. And you see that nobody can get past the keeper, but Tommy has a go and he scores 3 goals in the shooting fairground show. And some Fropton players that see him and they warn him and say, "Hey, son, are you playing for Barnes United?" And he goes, "Yes, why?" He's like, "We're playing 2 and Villa's back 4. You think you're good, don't you?" Like, "You won't get past us. We've got you marked." Ginger's just worried. He's just a worry.
Yeah, he does always actually. He's got a downward frown.
I feel I feel sorry for Ginger because he goes, "It sounds as though it's going to be an interesting game." And Tommy's like, "Tough. That's what it's going to be." Holding a teddy bear whilst holding the teddy bear
that he's just won.
He's won in the fairground show. Yeah. So here we go. Hundreds turn up to watch the match because this is a fate has been going on. So now they're about to watch the football match. Charlie Edwards is really nervous. He's going, "Hey, have you seen that lot out there? Everyone from the fairground has come over to watch. There's hundreds of people out there." He's really panicking. And Tommy gets the ball and he goes on a run and he scores. He goes on an amazing run and he scores. Yay! Yes. Hurrah! Great
Back
goal.
of the net.
And it's Peter. Is there one up for us? So Charlie gets fouled from behind and loses his temper. He's like, "You rotten dog! You did that on purpose. I'll get you for that." And he puts up his fists and like, "Tommy's grab him. He's lost his temper. He'll get sent off." But anyway, the referee just gives him a good talking to, saying, "I saw everything, son. I won't have you making threatening gestures to another player. You carry on like that and you'll be in trouble." "Yes, sir. Sorry, sir." He actually gives a yellow card to the Fropton player, and the game continues. So the second half begins, and now Charlie's calling for the ball. Tommy's like, "Oh, fancy Charlie calling for it. He's changed. Maybe standing up for himself did him good." And then Charlie, he gets hold of the ball and he crosses it over. It hits Ginger on. I mean, Ginger doesn't actually head it. It just hits him on the head and it drops down.
Ginger,
And it turns into a perfect knockdown for Tommy, who blasts it into the top corner, and they go 2 up. And now Fropton players are arguing, "Get in." And now Tommy's running rings around them as well. He's weaving in between them, and he's pointing. I'll go down the wing. You cut into the middle, Charlie. He goes, okay. Give me one nice high one. I'll try a header. Charlie flicks it on. Yours, Ginge. Ginge, who up until this point has not been able to kick anything, suddenly just buries it right footed, right in the corner.
I mean, it's a fantastic goal. What a strike that is from someone that can't play football. That's,
And being such a good plumber as well. I mean, he's got everything. He can make cups of tea. You can plumb in hot water. And yeah, he sticks the ball into the bottom corner as well. Lovely goal, Ginge. Smashing. And they win 3-0. So that's it. And Charlie goes, when I lost my temper, it seemed to do something to me. I didn't feel afraid anymore. I reckon I'm cured of being scared now. And then, congratulations. This is the league official. Congratulations, Barnes. We're happy to have you in the local league. I look forward to seeing Barnes United playing regularly next season. Thanks very much, sir. And then that's it. And on the way home, oh, well, that's all the football for me now until the holidays. I'm going away with my mum and dad. I'm going to my gran's at the seaside and me. Tommy's like, well, we haven't got any fixtures arranged anyway, so we'll all meet up again at the end of August. Everyone's got to keep in training. Okay, see you in a few weeks. Cheerio. Have a nice holiday.
Bye. Bye. See ya.
See ya.
We're all off for lashings of ginger beer.
Yeah. And that's it. That's the end. That's the end. That's the beginning of Barnes United. They're very first. They're now formed. They've got their own barn. They've got hot water. They've won their first game.
Brilliant. I just, on that way to the fete as well, in his uncle's lorry, the picture of them all in the back of the lorry. And like, it's the back of the lorry is like an open truck and they're all sitting in there. Could you just imagine that today? That would not be allowed. And I don't think you'd probably even be allowed to put that in a comic, maybe. I don't know.
Certainly with the amount of potholes that are around today, half of them would fly out the back.
Oh, a bit of politics there.
Politics.
Well done.
Yeah.
A bit of politics on this show. Nice one, Gull.
And as my want is, I've managed to pull out, and I can't tell you what edition this is. I don't know if you can help date that there, Matt. I'll show that on the camera, the Roy, like that kind of picture of Roy. But I've got a picture of Barnes United here that I cut out.
You've shown that before.
From years ago, when obviously I unfortunately originally sort of threw away a lot of my collection because of space, and I cut out pieces. And in that, at the bottom is kneeling Bertie Tanner, and it does actually say Peter Davey. So if I put my finger there, and if you look at the drawing,
it does look
very much like. But I agree with you. That writing looks like Peter Darley. So this is an interesting one, maybe to look at. I wonder if for some reason the character name did change over the years for some reason.
That's good. Yeah, I think that was from like 84 period, I think 83.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, looking at the picture,
it's a different keeper. Is it Dennis Tracy?
That's Dennis Tracy's the keeper that I really remember. Yeah, so you've got Nutter Norman, Skinny Lane, Ian Talbot still in the team now, obviously.
Oh, okay.
And you've got Adrian Loader, Ginger Collins, Steve Moon, Teddy Benson, Bertie Tanner, brilliant. Peter Davey, Tommy Barnes, Dennis Tracy is the goalkeeper, and Tubby Jones. So from that original lineup, you've got Skinny Lane, Ian Talbot, Ginger Collins, Tubby Morton, and Tommy. And if Peter Davey Darley, so potentially 6 of those players.
Those names are brilliant. Do you say Teddy Benson? Do you think you got it from like? Do you think it was like a Philadelphia Soul fan there? Because you've got Teddy Pendergrass and George Benson, haven't you? I don't.
Can I just say, I'm really pleased that you did actually pick up on that. Because Teddy Benson is the one in a tracksuit, and in brackets by his name, it actually says mascot. Doesn't say sub. It actually says mascot.
They had a mascot.
But as you can see, it's very far left. I think he's looking in tracksuit. But in brackets, it actually says mascot. This is brilliant. Absolutely
those
brilliant.
Those start young, don't they?
Don't they just?
They do.
That was really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. Tommy's Travels.
I mean, that is definitely, obviously, that's kind for me. I mean, obviously, as everybody knows, I'm a massive Marx Brothers fan. But I think in the volumes, the issues of the comics, Tommy's Troubles, really, I would say, is probably up there with, well, Hardman, of course, and I'd say Durrell's Palace. possibly goalkeeper that, the stories that really had long runs through all the issues. I mean, Tommy's Trouble really is one of the most famous stories from Roy the Rovers, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think obviously because a lot of kids would be able to relate to it because we were all kids at the time.
Yeah.
Some would have been forming their own teams. And I know.
We would want to do that, wouldn't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Every kid did. As you say, it's interesting. A bit like Billy's Boots. I think it did get quite a bit of knocking at time because it's almost the same story, but it does kind of make me laugh. So Durrell's Palace and a lot of them really are same story, almost recycled.
But then, of course, we've spoken about this in the past. The readership period of time as you get older, people drop off. So the next demographic comes along, and and they can recycle a little bit, can't they? Because
of course,
yeah, completely. Yeah, exactly. I think, in all fairness, when they were writing it, they weren't writing it for people like me that they thought was going to stick with it for 30, 40 years.
No. But I love Tommy's Troubles. I agree with you, Paul. It is one of my favourites, definitely.
Yeah.
So it's good to do that. And I'm sure we'll go. That's all right. I'm sure we'll go back to it again another time. Yeah. But thanks,
on the subject of popular stories, in a surprise section from Gull, the other gentleman didn't know this was coming, and neither did I, because I only thought about it about 5 minutes ago and even thought of a name for it as well. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you, they're looking apprehensive, may I introduce to you, Vote for the Goat. What's that? Oh, yeah, I know. Ooh, what's that? I hear the listeners cry. Well, we'll probably leave this open for 4 weeks to 6 weeks and bring it up over the next couple of podcasts. But we invite the listeners to, in the various social medias, get in touch and tell us your top 5 favourite Roy of the Rovers stories, including Roy of the Rovers. And over a period of time, we will work out with the votes what the most popular, top 5 were. Does that sound like a plan, gentlemen?
It certainly is a plan. We shall see what kind of feedback we get from it.
Yeah, good luck with that one. Yeah, well, Go. You can run with that one.
Up before there, aren't I?
Yeah, you are. Yeah, but you know what? You're on your own, so that's fine. We are fully behind you, or 100 miles behind you.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, I'm not sure you're behind me. You're probably
running away from you. Really, it's more exact. Yeah. That's a great idea, Gull. Brilliant. I look forward to your updates on that every song all the time.
Well, thank you for your absolutely extreme high level of sarcasm there, Mute Button Matt.
I thought
it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
I thought it personally was unfounded confidence, but anyway.
No, interestingly, that we all just see,
vote for your goat. Vote for your goat.
Exactly.
Let's see how long that lasts. So
it'd be very interesting to see where Billy turns up in that conversation.
It's the 3rd of November. Let's see how long that one lasts.
Yeah. Well, I was actually, until you said that, Gull, I was actually going to try and use what Matt said as a segue, but the moment's passed now because he said about going back. And I was saying, that's interesting you should say that, because I'd like to take us back to Collector's Corner, if that's all right with everybody. Just
go on,
briefly.
This is a mega tangent.
I suppose you get a few corners in a room, don't you? So there's lots of different corners.
Normally at least 4, but there you go. So, as I've already mentioned, the early editions of Tiger were bigger than A4. My scanner is only an A4, so my scans actually doesn't scan the bottom of the page. And I've now got my physical copy of that edition, 22nd of August 1959, and we were saying, and I couldn't remember how I dated it, but very similar to Russ Paul. Now Russ, his copy on the top left-hand corner is written in pencil, but actually on my copy, in the middle, in the bottom middle, in pen, somebody has actually written August 22, 1959.
Put it on the screen.
Wow.
Closer. Ouch. Sorry.
Yeah.
That looks like 1959 writing as well.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So that is very interesting.
I've carbon dated that through the Zoom call.
And I have, whilst you were doing yours, I just kind of read. That's very clever, Matt. I've just read the end of that story.
Thank you.
And it does correspond to the beginning of the Roy story in the edition of August the 29th, which I do have. And then just on this comment, I've got to mention this, and I do apologise.
Oh, so this is another tangent from the tangent.
Just very quickly to our friend of the show, Aussie Lee, because you missed this, Matt. Well, I'm sure. Melchester finished playing this game, and then while Jim played to the tune of Waltzing Matilda, the Rovers roared out their famous song.
What's that dated though, Paul? What is that one dated?
22nd. Well, as I say, it hasn't got the date written. It's the 22nd of August, 1959. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And there's this. Just I'm not even going to attempt to sing this, but
no, I know.
There's Jim, who's not character's name, I'm not sure of his surname, on the accordion, and the Rovers. I never realised they had this famous
Jim
song.
Hallett or something like that. Jim Hallett or
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I've got me.
If only I knew, I could have done it.
Well, yeah, it's Jim. Well done, Matt. It's Jim Hallett's. Then, when the final whistle blew, trainer Taft Morgan brought Jim Hallett's accordion from the dressing room. The Italian fans roared with delight. Give them the victory song, lads. Great idea, Jeff. Taft. Oh, great idea, Taft. Play up, Jim. And yeah, there's just this. I can kind of. I'm just reading a bit of it, and I can kind of see maybe why it didn't carry on for issue after issue.
Who play the Rovers? Who play the Rovers?
Play the Rovers, yeah. Who play the Rovers at home or abroad?
As the sweat from their brows ran down
and called their shooting boots.
Well played. The grease spots the Rovers that scored. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have got it there.
It never caught on. Yeah, that's one which I've got dated the 1st of July. That's what's interesting. But that clearly was the 22nd.
Yeah. Which, if you remember, it's because we have got that date you said of the 1st of July. That we've got that down as nothing published.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. So yeah, I get the link now with Aussie Lee.
Yeah.
So for some unknown reason, they decided to, after playing in Italy, decide to sing a song to the tune of Waltzing Matilda.
Apparently, though, if you don't mind me saying it roared with delight. Their victory song, the famous victory song.
The famous victory song. Yeah.
Wow.
The Rovers roared out their famous song. Sorry, I thought
that was good if you wrote it.
If you wrote Roy the Rovers, yeah. Well, I thought that was a little tangent worth.
That was an extra special tangent. But two things. I'd like to officially apologise to the listeners for anyone whose ears bled during that last 5 minutes. In fact, we've had an email come in straight away. From, I'll tell you who it is afterwards. And it says, please, for the love of God, leave the singing to Gull. Lots of love. Gull.
Oh,
hey, there you go.
Hey.
Haven't done that since at least episode 72
or 91.
I've really enjoyed. No, that wasn't around on 91. Just being a bit pedantic there. That was a really interesting episode, wasn't it? Really enjoyed that, especially the Tommy's Troubles, and your Collector's Corner was great. My Girl's Got Issues was mediocre, but you know, I can improve.
It was very good.
Gentlemen, before we move on to the social media and the goodbyes, I'm just going to throw this out there. I know I've got something like no, don't.
Is it vote for fish or something like that?
No. He's going to ask us what we've got, and do you know what? I've got something. So come on, Gull, ask the question because I'm pumped for this.
Okay. I was going to ask, what have we all got lined up for a future episode? Go ahead, tangent.
Well, I've been promising this for about 20, 30 episodes, but I've finally started on this, and I think I'm definitely ready with part 1. And a warning to all those of you that remember my specials on the Marx Brothers and the Hard Man and those UEFA Cup, European Cup magical cup runs by Kings Bay and Danefield United. Yes, you've guessed it. The Cup Winners' Cup run of Melchester Rovers. It's on its way. I'm ready.
He's got his confident voice on there, isn't he, old Tangent?
Oh, trust me. Big billing. This needs big billing. I'm not sure if it's going to be a 5 or a 25-parter, but it's going to be worth the wait.
I don't know about a theme tune. I might bring in a bloody orchestra for you for that one. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good. I'm looking forward to that, however many parts it is. Mute button, Matt, what have you got lined up?
Well, I've got when Roy Race gets shot. That's quite a long one. So I've got that ready to go at some point. I've got the Comic Life of Mervyn Wallace, which I need to shorten down, but that's good. I've got a Christmassy story, a Jerry Holloway Christmassy story.
Oh wow, interesting.
So I'll do that in April. No, I'll do that around Christmas time.
That would be good. That would be good.
Well, maybe hold off until next August because that's when the supermarkets start celebrating Christmas.
Oh, a bit of politics again. Is it politics? It's just society. It's just retail. Retail.
I'm glad.
What have you got apart from?
Well, actually, something that I've been meaning to do for a long time.
The goat.
What?
Note the goat or
vote for the towel on the goat.
Do you know what? You're putting the boot in tonight, lads, aren't you?
Well, you not mentioned Billy's boots all evening.
Well, all right then.
What have you got? What have you got for us?
Well, I don't know. Some sort of nervous breakdown at the moment. So I've been meaning to do this for quite a while, and we're going to come out of the comic book area and actually talk about a book. And it is a kid's book which ran for 6 books, and it's Napper Goes for Gull. And the interest there is that the artwork in the book was Barry Mitchell. So, yeah, there it is. That's the one. That's the first one. And I'm sure you've read it there, Matt. It is really great, isn't it?
Yes.
I think it is.
Well, it is really interesting because that one, you have mentioned this in previous pods, and I don't actually have that. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. I love this new material.
Yeah, great artwork in there. Look at that.
Illustrated.
I've only got the one goal, so I haven't got all 6. But no, good idea, brilliant idea. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. The book's here, ready to go, so I'll probably do that. I'll probably do that the next time. So yeah, that's what we've all got lined up. Fantastic. Okay,
fantastic.
Time for the social medias. What do you say? What are you going to go for, Paul?
Well, I've kind of settled into the Facebook groups, if that's all right with everybody.
Yeah, that's great. Paul, you do the Twitter. Go on then.
So, Facebook groups, Champ We Are United and Football Picture Story Monthly fans, which is kind of our own one. Then, as we always shout out to the great Ed Taylor, friend of the show, and his fantastic Facebook group, Roy the Rovers.
Can I go? It's over 8,000 now. Over 8,000 members.
Brilliant.
I mean, literally, because I'm accepting them, and there's probably like 20 join a day. So it's fantastic work by Ed. Yeah, sorry, go on, Karen, Paul.
Yeah, and of course that is Roy the Rovers comic 40 years on, and in brackets Melchester Rovers. And then I think, because we have had Pete Nash on, and I know Terence Angus is a listener and other people. So Striker World is another great Facebook group, obviously focusing on the adventures of Nick Jarvis. And then as well, we post our pod on another fantastic Facebook group, The Mighty World of British Comics. So those are the 4 Facebook groups that we're across these days.
I must say, Paul, I'm really enjoying, I've said this before, enjoying your posting of the next editions of the Football Picture Story Monthly, front and back cover.
Me too.
I'm really enjoying them.
Thank you, Gull. Yes, we're getting
United site.
Yeah. We're up to number 48. I posted 48 today, and it's interesting. We've also gone through even one price increase as well, from 26 pence to 28p.
Wow.
Politics, retail, and economics all in one show. It's amazing.
We're covering all the genres.
Bloody budget.
Yeah, just on that as well, because I know it's a real big interest for a lot of. Obviously, I pasted the back page as well, which shows the picture of the football player that was on each edition, because I know that's been quite a thing for some of the Football Picture Story monthly followers.
Yeah, very much so. Good stuff, Paul. Matt, do you want to do the X? Well,
Yes.
that's another draw.
I'll well, I hope
Drop
the
the
cameraman
axe.
doesn't mind. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So it's at champ underscore R. That's at champ underscore R. That's ARE. And we've got the YouTube channel, which is Champ We Are United. So yeah, Champ We Are United on YouTube.
Uh, I say, Doris Cotton here. Oh, Gull, do you want to do the old forum site address? Oh, thanks, Dot. I will. Thank you. So, yeah, the old forum address is champweareunited.proboards.com. As we always say, over 55,000 posts. It's now a reference site because most of the interaction takes place on the Facebook groups, but there is such a wealth of information on there. You're welcome to join if you're looking at doing any research or just interested. That's champweareunited.proboards.com. Oh, well said. Thank you very much. Oh, thanks, Dot. Right then. I think it's about time for the goodbyes. What do you say?
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Right, bye. Bye. No, I'll Matt go first this time. I'll let Matt go first.
Thank you. Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah, well hosted, Goal. Really enjoyed the show. I hope all the listeners did too. And yeah, we'll see you very soon in the next show.
Neil, like on Berrigan, you wanna say goodbye? We're all waving. Aye, it's me, Bygone
See ya.
Berrigan. See
See
ya.
ya.
They're still waving, aren't they? I'll be back soon. Thanks for having me, and I hope you invite me back on. Oh, cheers, Neil. Nice one. And
Nice guy.
finally, yeah, really nice guy. Really good. Yeah, never waves. Yeah, and finally, it's me, Gull, your host for this evening. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will be back very soon for episode 93. Take care of yourselves, and damn well catch up from episode 27, will you? You've got hundreds to go. Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye. See ya.
Bye.
Hiya.
What about
Are
Paul?
we still recording? No, yeah, I forgot Paul. Oh, sorry. You'll have to edit that out. I'm so sorry.
No, it's
No,
fine.
no, go on.
Listen,
You can go. You can do it now. I can edit it in.
And of course, we've got Paul. Paul, do you want to say your goodbye?
I just one last indulgence because it was a big help in Collectors Corner. So I just want to just mention comics.org and just read from there. The Grand Comics Database is a non-profit internet-based organization of international volunteers dedicated to building an open database covering all printed comics throughout the world. Give our search a try. Take a look at the menu to the left and blah, blah, blah. But that really helped with trying to as well get the information on these Tiger comics. So again, that's comics.org. Thank you very much. And it's a brilliant reference site. And guys, I've got to say, I've really thoroughly enjoyed today. Listeners, I hope my chuckling and laughing in the background hasn't spoiled it too much for you. But as you can tell, I thoroughly enjoyed tonight's episode.
Ruined it for me. Do you want to say goodbye properly then?
Bye.
Oh, all right then. And yeah, and finally, myself, Gull. Hope you enjoyed it. It's been a joy tonight. Really enjoyed it. And we'll be back very shortly with episode 93. We hope that you've enjoyed this one. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.